You ever heard of or maybe read about the Tinder Swindler? Well, the main character of this story, Simon Leviev, is an Israeli conman who is convicted of theft, forgery, and fraud. Between 2017 to 19, he had allegedly conned an estimated $10 million from victims all over Europe in a really disturbing Ponzi scheme. We'll be looking at how he spent his millions. Even though he weren't really his millions, he sure did enjoy spending them. I'm sure you're wondering why we're talking about Simon Leviev's millions, considering he was a con man who actually went to jail as a result of these crimes. However, regardless of who or what he was still a big spender, which is why we're going to talk about him. But firstly, we're going to be taking a quick look at some of the stories and the facts about the Tinder swindler Simon Leviev, whose original name was Shimon Yehuda Hayut, who was born in Ramat Elkanan, Bnei Brak, Israel. At 15, he moved to Brooklyn, New York with his family's friends, who later accused him of misusing their credit cards. Seems like he started his conmanship at a relatively young age, don't you think? According to interviews done by Felicity Morris, Leviev has been committing minor cons like check fraud since he was a little teenager. He later changed his last name to Leviev, which happens to be the name of Lev Leviev, an Israeli billionaire and a diamond mogul. To anybody who falls into his web and is tricked by his sharp tongue, Leviev says that he left religion and that his family showers him with money so he'll stay away from him. The stories of his fraudulent activities had taken various forms, way before he started using dating sites. Miriam McKaylee of Channel 13 tracked down a couple of his victims to hear their experiences, and she found that he once took a 2,500 shekel check he received from a family he was babysitting for, added 2 zeros, and left the bank with 250 grand. That was just the beginning of his exploits, as he decided to upgrade to dating sites. Thanks to some really amazing investigative journalism, they found many scamming accounts on his dating sites. His scam involved him using money he emotionally manipulated out of one girl to dupe the next one into believing he's a wealthy playboy, and then continue that chain in perpetuity, until his luck ran out. Leviev called himself the Prince of Diamonds and asked women to take out American Express credit cards and hounded them to increase their spending limits and loan him cash, which he never repaid. 3 of his victims who came out with their stories were Cecile, Pernilla, and Eileen, all of whom were featured in Netflix documentary. These ladies separately described meeting him on Tinder and developing a relationship that very quickly escalated over the course of a few months. The documentary shows Leviev first contacting Cecily, beginning an intimate relationship with her to the point where she was apartment hunting for the two of them, before requesting money from her a mere month into the relationship. Leviev also met Pernilla on the dating app, taking her to an expensive meal before the two decided to just remain friends. Toward the end of the documentary, it's revealed that Leviev actually had a long-term girlfriend named Eileen Charlotte, who he'd been dating for 14 months. Leviev had been conning all 3 of these women out of thousands of dollars simultaneously. Cecily details loans she took from up to 9 different creditors in order to supply Leviev with the money he wanted. The sum amounted there was $250,000. Once she becomes persistent in requesting her money back, Leviev seemingly moves on to a different target. First, he asked Pernilla for $30,000, which she was saving to move out of her mother's house, and she agrees to loan it to him. Next, he asked for a further $10,000, to which she agrees again. Meanwhile, his longtime girlfriend, Eileen, reveals that she's also been loaning him money, up to $140,000, totaling $430,000 in stolen funds from 3 different women. Sometime in 2019, Leviev was arrested in Greece by Interpol and the Israeli police with Eileen's help, and then he was extradited to Israel, where he was tied on outstanding charges of fraud and sentenced to 15 months in prison in order to pay compensation of more than $43,000. But Hayut only served 5 months due to the Rona outbreak. A company spokesperson announced that they banned Simon Leviev and any of his known aliases from all of their dating sites as soon as the story of his actions became public. But that didn't deter the infamous swindler from cashing in on his newfound fame. The credits of the documentary reveal he's actually begun a new business venture. According to various sources, Leviev has a new Hollywood manager named Gina Rodriguez from Gitoni Inc. They've been discussing ways to turn his newfound fame into an actual, profitable entertainment career. I am in awe of watching how he turned his situation around for himself. And that's not all. Leviev also said that he wanted to share his side of the story and write a book. I'm guessing the title is like, "Surprise, it's a scam!" TMZ also reports that Leviev is brainstorming a dating show featuring women competing for his love and wants to share his dating advice on a potential podcast. The nerve on that guy. I mean, even the driver feels guilty. During his time as the driver for Leviev, Jamal drove Cecily to an airport after her first date with Simon. He told Cecily that Simon was a nice guy and that he'd been working for him, which Cecily was comforted by and reassured to hear. Jamal says that he now feels guilty that he unwittingly confirmed Simon was a nice guy and made her feel like this was safe, this is true. It's not nice for me to say this, but I feel like a pig myself to be involved in that scene and to encourage Simon to do what he's done. He says, "It had an effect on me. It's not nice. It's disgusting and it's not a part of me." But Leviev has been living the posh life with that money he's made, and here's what he spends it on. Simon Leviev, or as his real name, was spotted on the prowl one weekend at Tel Aviv at a luxury dealership, and naturally, he was checking out Ferraris. He rolled up in an SUV with what appears to be bodyguards trailing behind him. Protection from his enemies, no doubt, but that's nothing compared to the whips he's eyeballing. Some of the Ferrari models in his sights including a 296 GTB, which car's going for as high as $250,000. And not only did Leviev take a good look at the exteriors, but he actually got inside one of them from the inside. So from our point of view, Leviev definitely seems to be rolling in dough to be able to shop for a prancing horse. However, he didn't cruise away in any of the cars. He was also spotted in a Lamborghini Aventador S, which is a car in itself worth over $500,000, with a wild 769 horsepower V12 engine and an exotic exterior. This car is basically the definition of a hypercar. And that wasn't the only car he was spotted in. He was also seen in the 2008 Bentley Continental GT that cost over $300,000. What's the life of a playboy billionaire tagged the Prince of Diamonds if it doesn't involve moving in the best conditions? Leviev chose luxury overall, whether on land, in the air, or on water. He impressed his dates by whisking them away on private jets and yacht rides. Now, I'm not sure whether the private jets were his, or whether he leased them, or whether he just stole them from somebody with his silver tongue. But both of those options are pretty costly. The price of private jets range from about $5 million to $30 million, depending on the brand. So it makes sense why most women believed he was rich. The cost for leasing a private jet isn't exactly as much as that, but it is still expensive. It costs between $5,000 to $10,000 to charter a plane for 1 hour. The yacht situation is a whole different ballgame, though. The price of yachts usually depends on their sizes, and for someone posing as a billionaire playboy, he ain't gonna go for nothing small. The starting price for yachts is about $3.5 million upwards, with a weekly lease being between $50,000 to $100,000. That is the lavishest of the lavish lifestyle. Leviev got himself some really nice designer outfits too. And not just any old designer outfit, he actually got himself some major Gucci stuff. In various pictures on his social media pages, he was spotted in a sold-out Gucci jacket worth $2,600, amongst many others. He was also spotted in some clean Christian Louboutin Chelsea boots, you know, the red bottoms. My excitement is mainly based on the awesomeness of the shoe and the price tag on it, $6,000. I'm sure that Mr. Conman won't have just one pair of shoes, and if his collection is anything like those red-bottom Chelsea boots, he's in for almost $100,000. Simon Leviev's Instagram page only has 6 pics of him, all of which he's sporting luxury watches in. One of those luxury watches is a Rolex Daytona in gold. The Rolex Everose Gold Cosmograph Daytona 40 watch has a black index dial and an 18-karat Evergold Rolls case, which costs around $80,000. Yeah, it's just one of his watches. He's also spotted wearing a Rolex Oyster Perpetual Date Just with an 18-karat gold case. This watch is so cool that its selling price begins around $60,000. He's also been spotted wearing a bunch of other expensive watches with prices ranging from $30,000 to almost $100,000. But accessories are not complete without a few pieces of jewelry to go with him. Considering Leviev's status, he's pretty sure to have a couple of pieces that'll blow you out of the water. Not much is known about him though, but you can be sure his jewelry ain't cheap. And there you have it. Thanks for watching how Hot Trash spends his millions.